political progress. And when we talk about moral and political progress, we're talking about first principles. We're talking about questions regarding the good life. And the question is, has the Enlightenment created a situation where there is large-scale consensus, almost overwhelming consensus, on questions about first principles, on questions about the good life? That would be evidence, in my opinion, of moral progress. And I think that's an argument that Steve makes in his work, that we have achieved both moral and political progress as a result of the Enlightenment. And I, of course, disagree with that. And I want to make 3 points. First of all, the core argument is that unfettered reason leads individuals to come to agreement about questions regarding the good life. In other words, unfettered reason, or what Steve calls the escalator of reason, leads us toward truth. It leads us towards agreement on first principles, and therefore we make moral and political progress. My argument is that unfettered reason involving lots of individuals does not lead to agreement. In fact, it leads to significant disagreement. People cannot agree about first principles. They cannot agree about questions regarding the political goods. They cannot agree about questions regarding justice, and therefore you're not making moral and political progress. And in fact, this is why politics is so important. If you look at Steve's work, politics is about room for their individualism. But because they're social animals to begin with, human beings belong to tribes. Today we call them nations. Human beings are very tribal. And when you're in a tribe or you're in a nation, your identity is inextricably bound up with that nation. You have interests, you have ways of looking at the world, you have views about what is just and what is not just that are bound up with being a member of that nation. So in the end, what that means is that sense that individuals are parts of nations and nations disagree on first principles makes it even harder to reach agreement on what are moral and political answers to the big questions in life. Then finally, there's the matter of international relations. I actually believe that people who focus on the Enlightenment argue, a la Immanuel Kant, that by using reason, we can come up with what Kant called perpetual peace. I don't believe that at all. I believe that because the international system is anarchic, which is to say that there's no higher authority in that system, that if the state uses reason to think about how to survive in that system, and of course survival has to be its principal goal, that state and other states are going to engage in security competition, and that security competition is sometimes going to lead to war. So in an anarchic system like the international system, basically you have a situation where reason leads not to peace, but it leads to competition and sometimes deadly conflict. So it's for those 3 reasons that I disagree with the argument that the Enlightenment leads to consensus, to some sort of truth about political and moral factors. Thank you.
So